This is a suit affecting the parent-child relationship. There's an acknowledgement of paternity. It looks like the parties agree to all issues except visitation. So I don't know if we want to do it as a temporary order and come back for visitation or just have the hearing for visitation right now.
We can come back for visitation, or we could set it up for the live hearing. Well, let's just do it all today then, Rogelio. Let's just do it all today.
Thank you. Thank you. I just don't want to spend that much time on this because we don't really need it. I've tried agreeing with her and talking to her about it. And
Mr. Rogelio, we'll ask you questions in a minute, okay? Just
Yes,
let
ma'am.
us get started. You may proceed, Mr. Schamberger.
Thank you, Your Honor. So in this case, my understanding is the parties agree that they'll be joint managing conservators of the child with the dad as primary. Child support would be $0 per month beginning May 1st because dad is not requesting any child support from mom. Medical support would be $20 per month beginning May 1st with dad to apply for the government program. He's not asking for any back pay, so there'd be no retro. Non-disclosure, I think, is needed for both parties, so we would include that in the order. And then court costs would be billed to mom. The only thing that would be left is the visitation. So if I might go ahead and call the parties.
Yes.
Mr. Sosa, if you would please state your name.
Rogelio Sosa Jr.
And you're the father of the child in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, as far as the terms that I went over, conservatorship, support, those terms you agree with, correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you reach that agreement freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe that agreement is in the best interest of this child?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, your child in this case, is it Raleya?
It's Raleya.
Raleya?
Yes, sir.
She just turned a year old about 3 months ago. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you said so will sound the same.
It's yes. My bad.
Say yes or no. Just
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, with whom does Raleya reside?
Me.
And how long has she resided with you?
Since like the first month since she was born.
Okay. Has Miss Viesca been visiting with your daughter?
Yes, sir.
And what type of visits has Miss Viesca had with your daughter?
She sees her almost 3 times a week, I can say. She sees her. She
now
comes back and forth.
Are these visits supervised or unsupervised?
They're supervised. We're here.
Okay. So Miss Viesca has, so for more or less 14 months, because you said after the first month, then the child's been living with you for more or less 14 months, right?
Yes, sir.
So for the last 14 months, Miss Viesca comes by about 3 times per week and sees your daughter at your house.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any reason why she's not picked up and dropped off your daughter from you?
Well, there's just some trust issues we have between each other, and that's just like personal between us two.
Okay.
It's just like safety issues.
Okay. What safety issues do you have? Well,
I don't want to go too far, but in the past there was some issues.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you know the judge has to make a decision today. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, there was restraining orders, and there was stuff like that.
Okay. So when you say there were restraining orders, were there criminal charges filed against you or her?
Yes, against her.
Okay. And what type of criminal charge was filed against her?
Assault.
And who was she accused of assaulting?
Me.
Okay. And how many charges were filed against her?
I want to say like just 1 or 2.
Okay. And were those cases resolved in court, or what happened with those charges?
They were they just expired.
Okay. So then the DA's office didn't seek a conviction.
Not sure.
Okay. Now, with the assault charges, it sounds like you kind of got a temporary protective order, temporary restraining order when that was done. Is that correct?
Yes. And then they had gave me a choice too if I wanted to add more time to it, that I can go in. I just never wanted to go in.
Okay. So after the temporary protective order is what usually is done. Everybody says restraining, but it's a protective order, okay? So after the temporary protective order was issued ex parte, meaning without, mom present, you didn't go to the hearing date for the final protective order, is what you're saying.
What is? Can you explain that?
Okay. Now it looks like you're looking to somebody, and I think I heard somebody.
Yes, it's my mom. It's
I
my
know.
mom right now.
You're over the age of 18, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I know your mom wants to help. That's the nature of all parents. They want to help their children, but you can't get answers from other people, okay? So if you can
No,
ask
I'm not.
No, I know, but if you can ask your mom to leave the room just because we want to make sure, okay?
just
And if you don't remember, if you don't know, that's perfectly fine to say, okay? And if you want your mom to testify later, we can call your mom on this issue, okay? But
Alrighty.
technically she shouldn't be in the same room with you, okay? Okay. So because of the 1 or 2 times that the temporary protective order was done, you have concerns about mom having unsupervised access to your daughter.
Can you explain it?
Well, I'm kind of trying to summarize your position that there had been in the past some issues, some family violence issues between you and mom, where mom was charged with assaulting you and a temporary protective order was issued, correct?
Yes, sir.
And because of those issues, you now have concerns about mom having unsupervised access to your daughter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, was the violence that she was arrested for, the assault, was it ever toward the child or only toward you?
No, it was only towards me.
Okay. Now, for the first month of your daughter's life, with whom did she reside?
We're at her dad's house for 2-3 weeks.
Okay. And were y'all living together, or was it just Miss
Yes, sir.
Vieta? Y'all were together and then you separated. When you separated, the child went with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, aside from the criminal charges that you've mentioned, do you have any other safety concerns about why Miss Viesca should not have unsupervised access to your daughter?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there anything you want to tell the judge regarding your request for supervised visits that I haven't asked you today?
No, all I ask is just I don't really want we don't need child support.
Okay, well, y'all agree on that, but my
Yeah.
question is about visitation. Is there anything toward visitation you're not that you haven't told the judge already?
No, sir. Everything's okay.
If I can pass the witness, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Miss Viesca, if you would, please state your name.
Janessa Viesca.
And if I could, both of y'all are kind of moving around. It's
Yes,
looking like
exactly.
Can y'all both just stand still or sit still, please? Because
It's because I'm at work, but yeah, I can do that.
okay, yeah, because y'all both were doing it, so it's both of y'all screens was looking kind of like I said, the Blair Witch Project, which y'all may be too young to
Yeah,
know.
it's getting me very dizzy and I'm concentrating on you all moving around. So just sit still for a minute, both of you, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so Miss Viesca, if you would please state your name,
Janessa Viesca.
and you're the mother of the child in this case, correct?
Yes.
Now, as far as the other terms, not regarding visitation, the conservatorship, support issues, you're in agreement with those terms, correct?
Yes.
And did you reach that agreement freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe that agreement is in the best interest of your daughter?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as visitation is concerned, just to kind of go over it again, Mr. Sosa advised that for the first month after your daughter was born, you and he were together. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
Inaccurate.
Okay, y'all had already separated.
No, where we're at, when I was in labor, he was with me. He was with me through the whole time. And then like a month or so, we had separated. And then that's when my daughter went with him.
Okay. Now for visitation, you're saying my daughter's already 15 months old. There should be no reason why I shouldn't have unsupervised access to the child.
Yes.
Okay. Now he brought up the criminal charges, and so before I kind of get into the questions, if there are still charges pending, you do have a right to remain silent on those issues, okay? So we don't want
Okay.
you to talk about something that could affect the criminal case, all right?
Okay.
But you would agree with him that once or twice the police arrested you or put a temporary protective order into place. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the issue for those charges, again, without getting specific about what happened and all that, because again, it may affect the criminal case, those were
Okay.
issues between you and Mr. Sosa, correct?
Yes.
In 15, and he said you come by their house about 3 times or more per week in the last 13,
Yes.
that's correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so in all those months, you've never expressed any anger, frustration, or violence toward your
No.
daughter.
No.
Okay. Let me finish the question just for purposes of the recording, okay? I know you know
Okay.
where I'm at with the questions.
Okay.
So you're asking the court to grant you unsupervised access to your daughter, and then eventually, as your daughter gets older, stair step it to overnight visits.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to express to the judge that I haven't asked you today?
No.
Okay, I'd pass the witness room.
All right, I have a couple of questions. Mr. Sosa,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. You testified that you got at least 2 protective orders, but they were only temporary and they never became final, correct? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and you didn't show up for the final hearing, correct?
What do you mean by the final hearing?
Well, why were they not converted from temporary to a final? Because in other words, they no longer exist. Let me ask you this. Do you remember when you filed them?
They were. No, I don't really remember. I don't.
Okay, and was it in the year 2000? Was it after the child was born?
Yes, it was
Okay,
after
stop
the
moving
child.
around. Just sit
Yes, ma'am.
still.
Okay.
Was it before or after the child was born?
After the child was born.
Okay, so your child was born in January of 2024, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so did you file the protective order or the criminal case or whatever order asking for protection? Did you file it in the year 2024? She was born in January.
Yes, ma'am. I'm pretty sure it was filed in 2024.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And so did they ever give you a final hearing for that protective order?
No, I don't think I was given a final hearing for it.
Okay. You know if it's still pending?
I'm not sure.
All right. You're gonna have to, So the problem was just between you and Janessa, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your daughter was never involved in any kind of physical injury at any time by her mother?
No, she wasn't involved, but it was a child something case because she was here in the house when it happened. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Was it with CPS?
No, it's a certain type of restraining order. I don't know. It's a child something case. It was something. I'm
Child
not sure.
endangerment?
Because I was 17 at the time, and when it
Okay.
happened, my daughter was here at the house, and
So when your daughter was born, how old were you?
I was 17.
Okay. All right. Now she's been visiting 3 times a week at your house or at a
Yes, ma'am.
public place?
At my house.
All right. And for how many hours each time?
Well, she'll stay overnight. She'll spend the night here, and yeah.
All right. And you know that. All right, let me put it this way. Since she's been visiting, and how do you all say your daughter's name? Raleya?
Raleya.
Raleya. Since Janessa has been visiting Raleya, she goes weekly without fail, 3 times a week, and she stays there. Has there been any physical problems between you and her?
No, ma'am.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And Janessa, you heard his testimony. You've been visiting at his house and sometimes you stay over so that you can see your daughter longer. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
All right. And there hasn't been any, because I don't want to put you all in the same household if you all are fighting with each other. Has that
No.
been working out?
That's been working out really good.
Okay. Who does Rogelio live with? His mom?
His mom.
Okay, and is there anybody else that lives there or just him and his mom?
Him, his mom, and his brother.
All right, and you get along with both of them, the mother and the
Yes.
brother?
Yes.
All right. All right, Rogelio, she is under 3, and so we have guidelines that allow the child to stay overnight at the age of 3, every other weekend, but you are comfortable if she sees him at your house or your mom's house every week, not every other weekend, it's every week, 3 times a week, you're okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. At what point in time were you telling the court that it would be okay if remember, she's visiting 3 times a week, if she were to be able, because you've admitted she's never hurt Raleya.
Yes,
At
ma'am.
what point in time would she at least be able to have her overnight on her own?
If she wants, she could, let's see, the weekends if she wants, or the weekdays when she's off at work. Cause
Okay.
I know she works.
All right, and so do you work?
Well, I have an interview next week on Wednesday, and I just went to an interview yesterday.
Okay, all right. And so, Janessa, what day do you work, Janessa?
I only have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off.
Okay,
For
so when
now.
you visit, do you visit on the weekends or during the week?
Well, because currently I just started working, but before I started working, I'll go, like, when I have a ride over there, I'll
Okay,
go. But for now that I have a job, my only days off are only Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
so it's gonna be a little harder, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, Rogelio, is it okay then, we can keep the weekly visits? She says she feels comfortable at your house, except can we do an overnight visit? She picks up her daughter, your all's daughter, on Tuesday, keeps her overnight until Wednesday, because those are her days off. Can we do that at least once a month so that Raleya can get used to it? At least we can do that once a month.
Yes, ma'am.
Janessa, so you'll have overnight once a month. Is that okay? And then when she turns 3, that's when the standard kicks in, and it'll be every other weekend from Friday to Sunday.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, so you all will keep the visits, but we're gonna keep the visits, Janessa and Rogelio, 3 times a week. But the court knows that your only days off are on Tuesday and Wednesday, or we can get more specific. Do you want us to put in the order that you will be allowed to visit her at his house every Tuesday and Wednesday, except for that one time you take her overnight? Do you want us to put it like that?
Yeah. I'd rather be like that. Yeah.
Okay, and then when she turns 3, it'll be the standard.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, I
Mr.
think, yeah, so just thinking out loud, what I would do is I would designate the, so I can ask the parties.
Okay,
Are you pretty confident that your schedule is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday off? Like it's
Yeah.
not going to change? Okay.
Well,
So
for now, it's because at my job I have a 90-day to work, but they said that my days off are Tuesdays and Wednesdays for now until they change my schedule.
when do you think they would change your schedule?
I don't know when they will change my schedule.
Okay. So the way that I can word this, Your Honor, she gets, now, what time have you typically been going by? Is it in the morning or afternoon?
In the afternoon.
Okay. So I can put in the order that you have like 2 to 5 or 2 to 6 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays of each week, but your overnight would be the second or the third Tuesday. Okay. You pick up at like 5 p.m. and you drop off at 5 p.m. Wednesday. Does that make sense? Or 6 p.m. because that 6 p.m. is the normal time in schedules. Does that work for y'all? That I just kind of designate in the order that it's the second Tuesday or the third Tuesday of the month, beginning at 6 p.m., ending at 6 p.m. on the following Wednesday? Or do you want to pick up like 10 a.m. Tuesday? That way you get kind of 2 full days. I mean, y'all tell
Yeah,
me.
can I do that? Yeah.
Are you
2
okay with
full
that?
days.
Dad, are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
and
and then
remember, Janessa, if on the days that you're not gonna have her overnight, let's say Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to his house. If you decide to stay there overnight at his house, that's fine. We're really just trying to nail it so that you have some sort of schedule. If you decide to stay and he lets you stay there and you're comfortable there, you spend the night at his house to spend more time with Raleya, that's fine. Okay?
And then I can put a provision that says if your work schedule changes, you can designate your days with at least 24 hours notice to dad so that, again, you don't just show up on his doorstep. He kind of can anticipate you, okay?
Yeah.
And then at age 3, it'll just be the standard possession order.
Okay.
Does that work for you, Mr. Sosa?
Yes, sir.
Anything further, Mr. Schamberger?
And no, Your Honor, I think that covers all issues.
All right, what the court is gonna do, Ms. Viesca and Mr. Sosa, is we're gonna prepare the order as to everything you all agreed to. That he's the father of Raleya, her name will stay the same, child support, he's gonna get the primary possession to decide where she lives. You will both have joint custody, both of you will have custody, what we call joint custody. Ms. Viesca, child support will be 0. The only payment you're gonna have is $20 for government insurance, Ms. Viesca, and so we're going pretty low on that. I don't think you'll be able, even at your place of employment, I don't think you'll find insurance that low. So we're gonna set it and that'll begin May 1st, okay?
Okay.
He's not asking for back child support, and so your visitation is gonna be 2 to 3 times a week, not every other week, a week, to be chosen by you depending on your work schedule, but we are gonna put Tuesday and Wednesday. The visits will take place at his house or his grandmother or his mother's house. You will be allowed 1 overnight with your daughter. You pick her up on Tuesday at 10, take her back the next day at 6 in the evening. Okay?
Okay.
And he's gonna put either the 2nd or the 3rd weekend of the month. So that way you know which month. We don't want to do the 1st and the last because sometimes they don't fall on whatever, but it's not a weekend. It's going to be on your days off, and he'll put some general clause that says this is subject to change and you can have visitation depending on your work schedule. Okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna write it as the second one just in case y'all don't get the order before then. So the second Tuesday of April is actually next week. So if you look at a calendar, all that you have to do, and I'm gonna share my screen real quick, okay? So let me share my screen just so that y'all know what to look for, okay? So if I say the second Tuesday of each month, all that you do is you look at the calendar. Here's the first Tuesday in April. So then April 8th is the 2nd. And then in May, the first Tuesday is the 6th, right? The second Tuesday is the 13th. In June 3rd is the 1st, June 10th is the 2nd. You're just counting the Tuesdays for when that overnight visit occurs, okay? Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes, sir.
You just look at the calendar and whatever Tuesday is the second Tuesday of that month is what you use, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Viesca?
Okay.
All right. The court finds that this order will be in the best interest of Raleya. Do either one of you have any questions that we can answer for you?
No.
All right, then I will sign the order electronically. If there's nothing further, then you all are excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I know everybody thinks that child support is for the child, but child support is not for the child. Child support is for the benefit of the child. The child has to live somewhere, doesn't he?
She does.
That means that somebody's either paying a house note or paying rent or something, right?
Correct.
Child support is for the benefit of the child, not for the child. I know everybody thinks as long as I buy milk and that sort of thing, then I'm doing my part. You're not doing your part.